right. All right, we're going to call to order the December 17th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Board meeting. It's our last meeting of the year. And with that, Bobby, call the roll, please.
Rich Daly,
Here.
Gigi DeBeck,
Here.
Paul Fisher,
Here.
Robert Hartsoe,
Here.
Sandra King,
Present.
Carla Coleman,
Here.
Fred Stacer.
Here. Okay, we got everybody for the last meeting of the year. We got the A-team here. Next item on our agenda is a moment of silence. So at this time, we'll take our traditional 30-second moment of silence, if you would, please. Okay, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the November 19th, 2025 meeting. Chair will entertain a motion.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions on the motion? Any adjustments to the agenda? To the minutes? Okay. Seeing none. Bobby, call the roll on approval of the minutes.
Rich Daly,
Yes.
Sandra King,
Yes.
Gigi DeBeck,
Yes.
Paul Fisher,
Yes.
Robert Hartsoe,
Yes.
Carla Coleman,
Yes.
Fred Stacer.
Yes. Okay, next item on the agenda is individuals who will be testifying tonight need to be placed under order. So if you're going to speak at this time, you need to stand, raise your right hand, and you'll be sworn in by the secretary. Thank you.
Thank you. Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Okay. All right, and with that, we'll move to the first item. Now, what we're going to do.
Mr. Chair, I'm very sorry to interrupt you here. The email that we received from Bobby earlier today pointed out that there was two correspondence that came in, and I didn't have a chance to review them prior to sitting down tonight. I was hoping to be navigated to them because I can't find them on the backup material at all.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry to interrupt. I apologize.
They're on LN1, LN 809. There's two on here. I had the same problem today. So if you pull up the first.
Yeah, would they be under the documents, I presume, right?
No, they had their own.
They're not part of a zip file.
No, they were, oh, okay. See, this only has the documents and the drawings. So, unless he put them into the,
No, those public comments were not
no,
on
they're not in that.
the manual drives. They're on the
Oh, I
actual
see. I found them. Thank you very much.
agenda item.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in the agenda, actually. Thank you.
And those were the two only public comments from emails that we received from the public.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
All right. What we're going to do, because of the nature of this, both items are relative to each other. So we're going to have staff go through the entire presentation, not just for the administrative adjustment, which is item number 1, but also for the site plan, because it adds more clarity to item number 1. So, and the applicant can do the same thing. That's probably a good idea. All right, so at this point, we'll go ahead with item number 1, Major Administrative Adjustment, P&Z 25-16, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros and a 3. And the address is 1600 South Federal Highway. Mr. Cady, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and board members. Jonathan Caddy with Development Services. This subject is for Vera Major Site Plan. Here is the location and the area view of the property. The property is located south of East McNabb Road, north of Northeast 65th Street, Port Royale Boulevard, and east of Federal Highway. The site is 1600 South Federal Highway, Pompano Beach, Florida 33062. The site is bordered by general business B3 zoning designation to the north and west. To the south is bordered by limited business B1 zoning designation. And to the east is bordered by multiple family residents. So the applicant is requesting a major site plan approval to construct a mixed-use building. The building will contain 132 multifamily residential units and 3,650 square feet of retail space. The applicant is also proposing 259 parking spaces through the requested major administrative adjustment, which is after this item. The height of the proposed building is 105 feet, and there's an existing building on site, office building, which is 78,734 square feet. Okay. Okay. So this is the site plan. This is a larger view of the site plan. This is a more zoom-in picture of the site plan. All right, since the site abuts RM20 zoning to the east, south, staff worked with the applicant to ensure the proposed development complies with city height transition standards adjacent to lower density residential uses. As shown above, the project incorporates a steep height transition. Therefore, the highest point of the proposed building aligns with the existing building. With the building height reducing from 10 stories to 7 stories, then to 4 stories, which set back 24 feet 7 inches from the eastern property line, where a minimum of 20 feet is required to provide an appropriate transition and compatibility with the adjacent low-density residential homes. This is a rendering of the transition of height. Well, since we're doing this before the major administrative adjustment, the first condition, I'll read that out for you guys. The proposed configuration of the site is dependent upon successfully obtaining the major administrative adjustment for the reduction in the minimum number of parking spaces required to permit 259 parking spaces for the redeveloped site, to obtain the approval of major administrative adjustment 25-165-00003. So should the board find that the application has provided competent, substantial evidence to satisfy the review standards for the major site plan approval, the Development Service Department recommends approval of the major site plan subject to the following comments and conditions. Provide the recorded plat to accommodate the proposed development and satisfy all condition restrictions of the plat prior to building permit issuance. Submit a recorded declaration of restrictive covenants specifying how the units and with what unit mix will be reserved for qualifying tenants as affordable housing. Deed restricting the affordable units for a minimum of 30 years for the minimum number of units necessary and consistent with the Broward County Policy 216-4. Standard condition of approval and or specifications required prior to building permit, zoning compliance permit issuance are the following. Provide evidence that the development achieves at least 12 sustainable development points as described in the sustainability narratives submitted to the DRC by time of building permit. Provide a final SCAD approval letter from the School Board of Broward County. Plans are subject to compliance with the applicable code requirements, included but not limited to DRC comments issued for the site plan. Landscape and irrigation plans must comply with all zoning code requirements as verified by the city's Urban Forestry Division, and a copy of the approved SEPTED plan approved by the Broward County Sheriff's Office must be submitted for zoning compliance permit approval, as well as substantial compliance with this plan as submitted with this application. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy. Well, we're going to go directly to the next item.
Yeah, actually, that was you just read the conditions for the second item.
Oh, for the second item, for the site plan.
You did. That's what you just read.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so we need to, I think what we need to do is go ahead and read into the record the conditions. Well, make the whole presentation. If you have more presentation.
Yeah, we had another presentation for the major administrative adjustment. So
Yeah.
if that is denied, then this can't go through.
Right. So I think we need to, yeah, so let's go ahead and read in, yeah, that.
So this subject for discussion is very major administrative adjustment. Yeah, we know the location.
Same. Right.
So the applicant is requesting a 24.5% reduction in the number of parking spaces required through a major administrative adjustment for the proposed mixed-use development. The request seeks to reduce the minimum required parking from 343 parking spaces to 259 parking spaces, resulting in a reduction of 84 parking spaces. This adjustment would allow the applicant to propose a total of 259 parking spaces on site. Here's the site plan again. This is the parking regulation for the residential component. So parking regulations for 1 to 2 bedroom standards is 1 parking space per 1,000 square feet in accordance with the city's code standards for the county's affordable housing policy. So 1 to 2 bedrooms, they're proposing 122. 3 bedrooms, each unit is 2 parking spaces for each 3-bedroom unit. And for guest parking is 1 parking space for each 5 dwelling units, for a total of 169 parking spaces for residential. The above parking regulations is for the commercial component required and provided by the applicant, totaling 174 spaces, with both residential and commercial totaling 343 parking spaces. The parking reductions shown above is not included in the request, but is presented by the applicant to illustrate what is possible if these additional requests were to be approved, which in fact the applicant did submit in their early submission, and it was denied by the director because the request was deemed infeasible. This is why they came with the major administrative adjustment. Above is the total of how many parking spaces are required with this required by code, 343 parking spaces, and their applicants proposing 259 parking spaces using the major administrative adjustment. Should the board find this application has provided competent substantial evidence to satisfy the review for major site plan approval development service, department recommends we recommend denial of the applicant's proposal for major administrative adjustment, and these are the conditions. If this applicant is approved, the applicant shall record the development order and administrative adjustment document with Broward County. A copy of the recorded approval should be submitted at the time of building permit. Provide designated parking spaces for all uses on the lot for all levels, including parking, clearly identifying which spaces correspond to each use or which space may be shared, subject to substantial conformance to the site plan approved under 2412-00027. According to the state statute 366.94, it is unlawful for a person to stop, stand, or park a vehicle that is not capable of using an electrical recharging station within any parking space specifically designated for charging an electric vehicle. Ensure that sufficient parking is available, excluding spaces designated for EV charging only. And standard conditions of approval or specifications required to building permit, zoning compliance permit issuance. Plans are subject to compliance with all applicable code requirements, including but not limited to DRC comments issued for the site plan. This concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any question on behalf of staff. In attendance is the applicant to present their case of the item.
Okay. We have questions before you run away, Mr. Cade. Yes.
You want to go or you want to go?
Go ahead.
Perfect, thank you. If you wouldn't mind just going back a couple of slides, I picked up on something that I hadn't noticed before. Are they proposing, keep going back one more here, bam, this one. Go back up,
This one?
this one. Proposing 20% of the already reduced spaces to be for compact cars only? Is that accurate? Am I reading this correctly? So 48 spaces, 46 spaces deemed only for compact cars?
Yes, they're proposing that, correct?
Yeah, that is wildly unacceptable. Okay, thank you.
No, just to clarify, all applications are able to use 20% of their parking as compact parking spaces. So that's not a reduction in parking spaces, they're just able to provide that amount of the spaces as
Sure.
compact.
Yeah, but with the reduction that they're already asking for, they're still going to utilize the compact.
Some of the spaces will be compact,
Looks like it's 20% of them.
yes. That's consistent with the permitted amount.
I gotcha. Thank you.
One moment, Max. Can you just state your name and title, please?
Sure, sorry. Max Williams, Principal Planner Development Services.
Okay, Mrs. Coleman.
Would you go back to the site plan and talk to us about how parking for the existing building and the parking for this building are meshing?
So I don't know if you can see from this site plan, but there's triangles, each with color designated parking spaces in the bottom left. So we asked the applicant to provide this within their site plan, and it's also a condition in the site plan submittal.
Would you rather the applicant explain how it's going to work?
Yeah, let me get the applicant.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'll
We'll
I'll
forego
wait
that
till
for
that
now.
presentation. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Hartzell, before we run off.
Since we went through both of these, I don't know who could answer this, but if this parking part gets denied, does that deny the site plan approval?
Yes, that's correct. They'll have to come back to the RC review so they can update their submittal so they can comply with standards.
Anybody else? Okay, applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. This is the first time I'm back in front of you it's been a while. My name is Paula West. I am land planner for the project. Company is Plan West. Address is 10152 Indiantown, Unit 159, Jupiter, Florida. And I just want to introduce the team. So with me, I have Jean-Francois Gervais, who is the architect for the project. I have Blake Kidwell, who is the civil engineer for the project, and also Carl Peterson from KBP, who is the transportation engineer for the project. And I'm going to try to say this correctly. The owner is Nick Poliushkin, and owner's rep is Yuri Hartinon. I completely screwed that up. Hartinonkov.
Okay.
So this is the Vera site plan. I'm going to kind of condense the presentation for both items.
Please.
So I'll talk about a little bit of the site plan, I'll jump into the adjustment, and then we'll finish out the site plan.
Okay.
So as Jonathan mentioned, 1600 South Federal Highway is our address. The property is at the south end of the city of Pompano Beach limits. We are located in the Santa Barbara Shores neighborhood, and I just wanted to show a historical aerial in this slide, just to show you that the office building that we're using in our design has been there since 1975. Before that, it was a mobile home park, so just a little bit of history there. And that's just kind of an overall, just to show you the boundaries of the city. So a little bit about the project. The project is about 2.35 acres. We are within B3 zoning and C commercial land use. We are utilizing Broward County Policy 216.3, which allows us to, because of the amount of commercial space on the ground floor that we're proposing, we're utilizing 6 bonus units for every 1 moderate income unit that we are designating affordable. And that allows us to essentially, that allows you to approve the site plan without having to go through an allocation of flex units. We're proposing a mixed-use, mixed-income development, 132 multifamily units. The 82,000 square feet that you see in front of you includes just a little bit over 3,000 square feet of retail, and there's a little bit over 3,000 square feet of a credit union within the existing building that we're using. And it's about 60,000 or so square feet of the office building. The 75 or so thousand square feet that you saw in the site plan is actually based on Broward County property appraisers. And I'll get into that. It's like 60,000 based on the rent roll. So the 60,000 is more accurate, and we've confirmed that with staff, or clarified that with staff. So this is the table. So now I'm going to jump into the adjustment. So the adjustment is for 24.5% of a reduction in parking. I do want to clarify that we did not officially submit this as a minor administrative adjustment, so it was not officially denied. We tried to go back and forth with staff to see if this is something they would support. And because, of course, the calculation for residential is already reduced by code, by the way, there's no adjustment, there's no variance, there's none of that necessary to claim that 1 per 1,000 square foot calculation. That's just allowed by code because of the mixed income nature of the project. Staff felt that that was kind of already exceeding the 20% limitation of the minor. So that's what kicked us into a major. And another thing that was not very blatantly clear in the narrative for the adjustment is that we are looking to reduce the office calculation. We are providing, and again, a parking reduction is a parking reduction no matter how you see it, but the presentation and the justification is specifically focusing on the office building. So as you can see, so we're providing 122 parking spaces for the residential use. 20 spaces are required for the 3 bedrooms and above. Well, there's only 3 bedrooms. 23 spaces for the retail component, that's the bank and the new retail portion of the project. The office building is required 151 spaces, and we're providing the guest spaces at 1 per 5, which is 27 total. Now, to justify the adjustment, going back again to the minor administrative adjustment category. So in order to actually claim that for a site plan from the Development Services Director, there are several items in the code that you can use to justify your request. So we are trying to, point your focus to these 3 different types of justifications. The first one is a transit accessibility, essentially saying that we have bus stops nearby. And I'll get into that in a second. So that gives you a 15% reduction in parking, just because you have one nearby within 1,000 feet of the project. The second one is a special facility that your project is providing special facilities for bicycle commuters, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's basically providing facilities for people who use bicycles as their mode of transportation as opposed to vehicles. And then the third is kind of an other category that allows you to claim credit for anything that kind of is similar or kind of does the same thing that the code allows you to do, but in a same level or better. And then, yeah, that's it. So we're proposing 259 spaces. So highlighted in front of you, so this is just to kind of focus on the first category. This is the one about transit accessibility. The highlighted is where our project is located. We have 3 bus stops within our project. The code says as long as you have one within 1,000 feet, you can already claim this 15% reduction. We have one exactly in front of our project, and all 3 of these are within 500 feet. The second category, the one about bicycle facilities, we're providing showers and changing rooms for people who choose to use bicycles as their transportation, as well as bicycle enclosed locker rooms. So that's just kind of a snippet of our ground floor plan to show you. That allows you to claim 5% of a reduction in parking. And then the third option, again, it's kind of an other category. We're proposing to dedicate an entire floor of the existing office building to co-working space, limited only to the residents of the project. So what that means is that the parking demand that would otherwise be needed for 5,000 square feet, which is 12 parking spaces, is being used by the residents for working from home, just like I do. In addition to that, that's when we went out and hired Carl. So what Carl did with KBP was he not only observed the parking demand for the office space, for the office building, but he also looked at what ITE, which is the Institute of Transportation Engineers, parking generation manual, and he also looked at the Urban Land Institute shared parking manual, which talks about shared uses, and what those parking demands were. And he did include that in his parking statement to show you that parking demand, particularly since the pandemic, has been greatly reduced. There's not much of a demand. Now, he also included that the ULI parking calculation for guest parking. Again, we are not reducing the guest parking or the residential uses whatsoever. But this is particularly to justify the reduction in the office space, the office space parking demand. So in front of you, you have the two tables. The one on the bottom is for the ULI guest spaces, and the one on the top kind of explains the ITE demand for office use, and I'm going to let Carl explain all that. Come on up, Carl. I have to keep my distance because Carl just recovered from the flu.
I think I'm better now. This is day 13, so if you get the flu, it's a 2-week process. I can vouch for it. So I'm Carl Peterson with KBP Consulting, offices at 8400 North University Drive in Tamarack. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening to answer any questions you might have, talk a little bit about the parking. I initially became involved with the project primarily through the transportation side, the traffic engineering component of it, and dealing with the access with Florida Department of Transportation, as well as the platting process with Broward County. But of course, while I'm there on site, I'm noticing, trying to observe the site, how it's functioning with the credit union, with the office space, and what the actual real-time parking demands are. The office component is over 90% occupied per the ownership. So what we're seeing in the field seems to corroborate that this is a fully occupied building for the most part. And so the actual real-time observations that we're seeing there reflect what the parking demand would be in a worst-case scenario. Having said that, what we typically do is we'll take a look at these analyses to just kind of provide a little additional information concerning the parking requirements. I know Paula's has spoken about a lot of different reductions per your code and different approaches. I'm looking at it from a different perspective. I'm saying, okay, the Institute of Transportation Engineers has collected traffic and parking data throughout the country for office buildings, and ULI has done a lot of work with residential developments. When it comes to the office component, the data that they've published, you can see on the screen there, there are two approaches for calculating the parking demand for an office building. There's an average rate, which you see in the top equation, and then there's a fitted curve equation, which is just a nicer way of saying statistically analyze the data there. And those two basically yield a parking demand for a 60,100 square foot office building of about 117 parking spaces. So per your code, that amount of general office space would require 151 spaces. So based upon the real-time data that we have from the Institute of Transportation Engineers, the parking demand would be 117. The other item that we took a look at was the guest parking. Essentially, the code requires 1 per 5 dwelling units, or 20% of the parking demand. So what we took a look at ULI, you see the table excerpt there in the lower right-hand corner. ULI estimates the guest parking demand associated with multifamily residential at 15%. So we're able to reduce that guest parking demand from 27 spaces to 20. So the overall reduction that we're seeing with these two approaches is 41 spaces. So we provide that as some additional information to hopefully give you some comfort that the request that we're asking for is reasonable and that there'll be sufficient parking on site to meet the demand. So with that, I think I'm going to turn it back over to Paula, and I'll be here to answer any questions that you may have after our presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to ask Carl something. So the manual for the ULI is for shared uses, is that right?
The manual is it's a widely used in the development industry to estimate parking. It's called the Shared Parking Manual. It's the third edition, is the current edition published by the Urban Land Institute. Very well-respected publication. The overall publication is geared towards shared parking. When you have multiple uses in one location, how can you use the synergy of those different uses and the parking, not to be providing 100% of the parking for each individual use, but to look at those uses based upon time of day. And the classic example is office space and say hotel. That's a classic shared parking combination. If you have those two uses co-located, the office space needs the parking mostly during the day between 9 and 5, and the hotel needs the parking in the evening. You wouldn't want to provide 100% of the parking for both of those uses, because then you would end up with a tremendous surplus of parking. Those two can synergistically use the same parking and more efficiently rely upon a reduced parking supply to meet the actual demand. Now, to Paula's question, yes, that manual is focused on shared parking as a technique, but within that manual, they also provide the parking generation rates for a multitude of uses. The one we're focused on tonight was the residential component, and even more specifically, the guest parking component of the residential development. Is that it? Okay.
I appreciate it. Okay, so before I get into the standards for the adjustment, I just kind of wanted to point out, to bring your attention to 3 articles that we submitted with our backup. So the reason I submitted these was because I wanted to look at what has been happening to parking, specifically to office spaces in central business districts, what that trend has been since the pandemic, because the pandemic is really the driver of the reduced parking calculation in the ITE manual. And then, is that really here to stay? So the first article, and you have that in your backup, first article is from January of this year. It was written by Town Park, which is a parking and valet company. And the title of the article is 5 Years Removed, the Ripple Effects of the Pandemic on Parking. And just what stood out to me from this article was, again, bringing up the obvious fact that parking has been impacted by the pandemic, but particularly office space parking has been impacted, and in the urban business districts. And then the biggest thing that jumped out at me in this article was the recent vacancy rates that were documented in major cities. So in Chicago, there has been a documented vacancy rate of 22.4%, Boston, 23%, New York City, 23.5%, Denver, 33.8%, and worst of all is San Francisco at 37%. So that kind of jumped out at me. The second article was in the census website. That was, again, in January of this year. New U.S. Census Bureau data show detailed characteristics of home-based workers. So kind of summarizing the percentages from 2019. So in 2019, there was 5.7% of the U.S. workers worked from home. Then in 2021, that went up to 17.9%. Then it went to 15.2% in 2022, and then 13.8% in 2023. It's kind of stayed somewhat around the same amount of percentages, but what jumped out at me was that in 2019, around 9 million people were documented to be working from home. In 2023, that number is 22 million. And then the last article, and my stuff just fell apart. Last article was from the Stanford Institute for Economic Policy Research. That one was interesting because it talked about a couple of different surveys that were done. The first one was specifically for executives, and executives that had this hybrid or fully remote working kind of model. So they were asked for their data, and 12% of them, of the survey, 12% who currently have hybrid or fully remote workers reported plans for some kind of return to office mandate in the year ahead, which would have been this year. Many of those plan mandates do not involve a full return to work model. It's some sort of hybrid, so it could be a couple of days a week or fully remote. What's interesting to me here also was a separate survey that was done in December of last year from the Survey of Working Arrangements and Attitudes showed that only 44% of all, so this was not just executives, it was just American workers in general. 44% of the respondents said that they would comply with a return to the office policy requiring fully returning to the office. The rest said they would quit or start looking for a new job. And then the last quote that I'll leave with you is that in a working paper released in February by the National Bureau of Economic Research, the researchers tackled the variability of measuring work from home across numerous surveys and estimated that as of 2025, work from home days account for a quarter of all paid work days in the US. So again, and I forgot to mention, so that article was from March of this year, and the title of it was New Survey Indicates Work from Home is Here to Stay. So that is definitely the summary of that survey. Sorry, that article. Okay, so now getting into the standards. So everything we kind of showed you already, the other category, the transit accessibility category, the bicycle facilities that we're providing, we believe all of those things, including the studies and the articles and, of course, KBP's traffic statement or parking statement, all of that meets A and B, the standards A and B of granting the adjustment. We do have the same standard as code required, and we do not have any greater impact on adjacent lands based on everything that we're implementing on our project. Now going to standard B, which talks about the comprehensive plan and what goals kind of support our request. We found 4, they all kind of say the same thing, so I'll kind of summarize them. But in your comprehensive plan, particularly for your land development code, first one talks about amending the land development regulations to reduce parking requirements for residential and commercial uses along major corridors like ours, where it can be shown that pedestrian and transit amenities are provided, shared parking is provided, or sufficient public parking is nearby. Second one talks about revising existing off-street parking provisions of the zoning code considering shared parking, parking space size, there's the compact spaces that you mentioned, compact spaces, parking rates by uses, etc. Third one talks about revising parking codes and design criteria to include incentives for mass transit use and other transportation alternatives, as we're doing, that don't require parking spaces. And the last one talks about updating land development regulations to revise parking codes to allow for parking space credit for on-site accommodation for transportation options that do not require parking. All 4 of these support our request. And then the last standard for granting an adjustment has to do with providing one of several public benefits. We chose 3 to highlight, and again, it's just one. The first one is that we are providing deed-restricted workforce housing and or affordable housing. Again, we're using the county policy. We don't require a flex allocation. We are going to be deed-restricting 20 moderate income units within the project, all of that. We are preserving 28 trees that are existing. We're adding 33 mitigation trees, so that's the third standard is talking about preserving or protecting trees. We're providing 93 native species, where only 17 are required. Just wanted to throw that in there. And the last one has to do with providing a design that is against flood damage. And so our project is going to be meeting the city's requirements, which we know is above and beyond FEMA minimums. So there you go. And then I just wanted to show the site plan before I push it off to the architect to do the site plan thing. I just wanted to highlight a couple things on the site plan. So on the top part of the site plan, that's where the bicycle facilities are provided for, the bike lockers and the showers and changing rooms. I wanted to point out the drive-through portion in front of the office building. So when we met with FDOT to get a let me back up. We're also going through a plat process for this project. Because of that, we needed to go to FDOT to get an approval letter. So FDOT worked with us, the county worked with us. We had to amend a whole bunch of things in the site plan. The one thing they did ask to make the circulation work was to rearrange the drive-through portion of the credit union to go north as opposed to south. So right now it's actually going south. We're going to be changing that to go north. They also required that we had no openings to this parking area down here because that would obviously push queuing out onto Federal Highway. So we have a very, very long entrance here. The other thing, so I wanted to highlight the office building is the existing blue colored area in the middle. Again, that square footage is based on Broward County property appraisers. That's not accurate. It's actually like 60,900 or so based on the rent rolls. And then the last little circle is where the bus stop is located right in front of our project. Okay, with that, now I can give it off to Jean-Francois.
Good evening. My name is Jean-François Gervais. I'm partner of ID Architects. Located at 3323 Northeast 163rd Street in North Miami Beach. There's a lot that has been said already by staff and by Paola on the project, so I don't want to repeat everything that has been said. We work very closely with staff to do what we think is a beautiful building. We met to the AAC a few weeks ago, and I think, well, personally, I think it's a beautiful building. So we work very much in detail for the building to be very, very well proportioned, using modern material in a general composition where you have a base, a shaft, and a capital. So the use of modern building, the materials are put in a fashion that is truly contemporary. But the general composition of the building has some more traditional classical appeal to it. Repeating what has been done before, it's a 3-story podium mainly occupied by the parking structure with 7 floors of dwelling units for a total of 132 dwelling units. The building is 105 feet high, and a very important characteristic of the building is the step backs at the rear of the building to minimize the impact of the new building in relation with the residential area at the rear. We have about 3,600 square feet of retail space on the front of the building, and this is not a structure that is dedicated to cars, it's dedicated to people. We wanted to make very friendly for people to go from this building and to other destination using bicycle. So there's extensive bike storage on the ground floor that's adjacent to locker room where bikers in the heat of Florida can use showers, lockers, and facilities to make sure that they get home fresh. I could talk about the building for half an hour. I'll be very happy to answer any question that you have. We think it's a good project. We work very closely with staff to make it right, we believe, and we hope that you appreciate that. Thank you.
Let me just add that when we went to the AAC was concerned about approving the project without the adjustment, but they understood that that's up to this board. They did request that we made some sort of a matching color or material element that goes from the new building to the existing building. So I believe we agreed to do the top darker color to bring that into that middle solid member in the existing office space. And then let me go back to the landscape plan. Ken, come on up, Ken.
Good evening. My name is Ken Gardner, GSLA Design Landscape Architects. Our office at 17670 Northwest 78th Street in Miami. As Paula already had mentioned, we're meeting and exceeding all of the landscape requirements that have been set forth by the municipality here, and we tried our best to create like a garden that this building will set in. We took the very fine architecture that was prepared by IDEA and we're replicating it into the streetscape and accenting the verticality of some of the elements, the horizontality of others, and creating a pleasant space for pedestrians to move about the site, as well as to create a setting for the buildings. Predominantly native species. We made sure that rooting areas were sufficient that will be able to sustain life, and all these species will be able to survive in perpetuity and look excellent doing so. Again, I can talk about the landscape for probably longer than he can talk about the architecture, but I'll be available for any questions should you have any. Thank you.
And that concludes our presentation.
Okay. I wonder if we ought to go ahead and have audience before we do this, because I think there's going to be a lot of questions from this from this board. So rather than preempt the people, I think, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on this? And if you would you please come up here? You can have 3 minutes and tell us your name and address, and then tell us what you're thinking.
Right here. Hi, my name is Maria Kane. I live at 1550 Southeast 23rd Avenue, right behind where the project is going. I live in a residential house. I've been there since 2001, raised 3 kids there. My youngest just graduated college. I have seen massive changes in Pompano. I've been here since it was sleepy, and nobody on the board wanted to develop anything to what's going on now, which I think a balance of growth and charm is very important. I have no issue with planned good development that brings up the community and brings up our investment in our community. I have not been there for 20 years to come in and have someone talk about, I'm sorry, showers, locker rooms, reduced parking, working at home. I can chat GTP every issue that you had and talk to me about, and I can rebuttal. I don't have the same time allotted to me that they have. I am very passionate about this. I want improvement. I don't want to be dug down and have my life's work. I came from work. I left 2 hours early. I'm not getting paid for my 2 hours. This is my choice. I love my job. I chose my job because I love it, okay? You love your job. This is my home. This is where I walk. This is where I drive every day. This is not a joke. This is not about money. This is not about anything. This is about livelihood, my life, and what it's like to live there. I may die in that home, and I am not playing games. I'm just very passionate that I don't mind development, but it has to be done right. And there should be no reduced parking. I'm sorry, I don't get reduced parking. Why do you get reduced parking? Do I have to come here and have a meeting so that I can have something special done to my house? But if someone comes in with money, it doesn't matter? I'm sorry. That's really all I got to say. Please do a good job for us. I love you guys, and I'm trusting you, because if I see this garbage going on in my street, and I know I didn't try to prevent it, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna say, remember that meeting? That's what I tried to say. That's what we tried to stop. That's all. That's all I've got to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else? Would you like to speak, sir? Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Name and address for the record, please.
My name is Francis Trenchard. I live at 1530 Southeast 23rd. I've been there for 12 years. I've seen a lot of change in Pompano, a lot of it for the good, especially when you did all the green zones. It was wonderful. You could see the changes up the road as they were happening, and I commend you all for that. It was beautiful. The problem that I have is I think a lot more people would have been here tonight from the neighborhood if it was proposed as another 10-story building next to the original 10-story building with 300 and some units in there that people are going to be living in. Instead of just a parking space reduction. You know, I looked at it and I said, oh, they want to build another little fast food restaurant right on the highway. And that's why they're reducing it. But no, I find out it's going to be a monstrosity. And we've had such heavy development in that immediate area. Up in Port Royal, that's behind our houses, put 5 new buildings in, along with their monstrosity tower. So in the mornings, when you get out for traffic, they're pouring out of there, and you could wait 2-3 lights to get through that intersection, because the other side now has condo buildings or apartment buildings. It's just been so dense. When I run my tap water at 6 o'clock in the evening, I notice it's hardly coming out now. It used to pour over the 12 years. So I know that the infrastructure has been so plagued just in that immediate area. We have the Publix, we have the CVS, we have the car wash, we have a new gas station, we have a school, 2 schools that use 15th Street or McNabb and the Catholic school and the grade school that's next to Publix. But I just want you all to know that we count on you to look out for us and our best interests. And that intersection and that part of road now is crazy in the morning, and it's just going to get crazier. You've got 2 accesses for this building, the office building and the other. One driveway in, one driveway out. It dumps right on the Route 1 and Federal Highway, and they're going to be going up, they're going to be U-turning to go back the other way. It's a mess already, every morning. So if they put in 130 units, you know, maybe they should consider putting in 60 or 50, something reduced, something not 10 stories high that's going to block my view of the sun again. I mean, you know, already I dance around this building that's there.
Your time's up.
Anyway, if they would have just put an announcement out that it was for this and not just a parking lot reduction, as I say, I think you would have had a lot more citizens here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Name and address for the record, please, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Sarah Bellato, and I live at 1581 Southeast 23rd Avenue, right behind where their parking lot is. I just have an issue with reducing any kind of parking, because we hardly have enough parking for anything anymore. And if you start reducing, it's just going to cause chaos. When you go down Federal Highway, yes, we do have bus stops there. Yes, we do have 3 of them, I think, from Walgreens area to McNabb Road. The only problem is a lot of people don't get on and off at those stops. But the ones that do cause a lot of problem with traffic in the morning, people making the one turn off of Federal Highway to go into that building. And I think by having facilities with showers and with bicycle lockers and stuff, I think that that's not going to be feasible for our neighborhood, only because there's not a demand for it. And we already have issues with a lot of homeless, displaced people that hang out at this building in that parking lot behind the trees, and all of their debris comes over my fence. In fact, they don't maintain their trees. Their roots and stuff are uprooting my PVC fencing, which has cost me a lot of money. The only other issue I want to bring up is she brought up a fact that there used to be a trailer park back there. You know when that trailer park was there? Probably in the 50s or early 60s. And that's, you could say where CVS is, there used to be a drive-in movie theater right there on McNabb. But, so that's not really, we don't have mobile home parks anymore on Federal Highway. If you notice up in Lighthouse Point, they're all done. I think that if we make a precedence to change the parking for this building that they want to put up, then we're gonna have problems with all the other commercial buildings that say, whoa, wait a minute, they have precedence, we're coming in and we're gonna fight. Then where are we gonna park? There's hardly any more compact cars. Everybody drives an SUV. So by saying this is gonna be for compact cars, that's not really feasible anymore. I think that this country is going to get back to normal. Everybody's going to go back to work and get out of working from home. That's shown that that's really not feasible for people anymore. You've got to get back into the workplace. By saying that, okay, this is fine, we're going to have all this working whatever in this building, I don't see that being feasible for the years to come. We want to make progress. We don't want to stay set back from the COVID scare. Now, as far as their landscaping and stuff, they need to put a barrier wall between our homes and that building, only because a car can go from the parking lot right through into my backyard, and that's it. They park so close. So please vote for us to not have the reduced parking. Keep this under control.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, let me close I'll go ahead and close that. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing at this point, and then we'll get back to, I'm going to let you speak in a minute, but now that they've spoken, I think, we'll have the board go next. Okay with that? Okay. All right. And then we'll let you speak at the end as well. Okay, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions, so it's going to be a little interactive here at this point. All right, let's go first. Mr. Fisher, you want to go?
Yeah, I got a couple questions. So just to confirm, I know you mentioned a couple times, so we're not touching any of the parking for the residential property. So they get their 169 units, that's including the guest units, or guest parking spaces, correct?
Yes, correct.
So we essentially have 90 left for the 82,000 square feet of commercial office, correct? Is that correct?
Yep.
And just a couple of questions then. The bike location, which is I'm assuming is to help with the office space commuters, is that's located in the top corner, is that correct? Right on the other side of the residential building, not connected to the office building, correct?
Right, exactly. It's in the new building.
So that anybody will have access that works in the office building has access to the biker community parking and showers and stuff?
Yes,
Okay.
and I just wanted to thank you. That's one of the things I wanted to mention. The bike facilities are for people who are either working in the new retail portion of our project, working in the office building, working at the credit union, or just living in the residential units that we're proposing. So it's not like a public facility that anyone can just come and shower.
Okay. If they live there, they're going to go to shower probably in their own place, not shower in the ones downstairs.
Yes, correct.
But it would be access from one side of the property to the other, because it's not as close to the office building space. I guess my question is for that gentleman, the parking, expert. So I'm assuming you did a site visit, correct, of the current parking. How many spaces are currently being occupied for the office space?
There's about a little over 200 parking spaces there today. And during our observations, we noted that they're about half occupied. That's why I mentioned that the office building itself is virtually fully leased. And that's why I questioned, because when I realized the parking demand in the existing parking lot is taking up about half of the spaces that are there today, roughly. I wanted to make sure that we were looking at a building that was fully occupied, and I'm told that it is, yes.
So roughly 200 parking spaces and 100 are about taken up now.
Currently, that's correct.
Perfect. Okay. So that would be, we're going to do 90 parking spaces for the office space. When we're going to reduce down to 90, go up about a 10 surplus and add 3,000 square feet of commercial retail space.
Correct.
Let me just make sure my other location. And then the reduction that were used, you were mentioning on a previous slide about guest spaces. That was referencing residential, correct?
Yes, correct.
We're not reducing the residential side. We're only reducing the commercial side.
No, that was really just provided for informational purposes.
I just want to clarify that one.
Yep, it's just that 27 are required, but according to ULI, the 15% would be
Okay.
More appropriate.
I was confused there for a minute, so.
Yep.
Awesome. I think I'm good, Chairman.
Okay.
That was to show demand.
Mrs. Coleman, go ahead.
Let me see if I understand this right. This is a 2.5 acre or 2.36 acre site. And you've got bike facilities on the southernmost, northernmost, okay.
Northernmost.
I'm looking northernmost, or basically the building that is in the middle,
For
for anyone.
the whole project.
Okay, right. Now, all of this is surface parking, right?
No, some of the parking is within the first 2 levels, 2 or 3 levels of the residential building.
Okay, but not enough for the entire residential building is in those first 2 floors.
I'm sorry, repeat that.
How many spaces are in the podium of the building, of the new residential building?
I'll have to defer to the architect.
Out of the 259 parking stalls provided, 76 are on grade.
The 76 are in the building. Can we go back to?
Are on grade,
Are on grade?
yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry, 76 are exterior
Okay,
on surface parking, and another 26 are on grade but under the building. Oh, 76 open air on grade, on surface, and another 26 at street level, if you wish, but under the building. And if you look at the configuration of the building, actually it makes sense, because what you see in yellow is the new proposed commercial, the 3,600 and some change square feet of commercial. And we have behind a certain amount of parking stalls that are likely to be used by the customer, the user of that commercial space.
I'm just looking at a site plan that's going to have a number of people who live in that building parking pretty far away from their building and on the surface spaces.
But the new proposed residential building has 2 full decks of
That's what I
parking
was
garage.
asking you, how many spaces are in the building?
So is it are you subtracting 76 from the total? There are 76 out in the parking lot when they're left?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the total again?
The total is 259.
Okay, and it's
And
76. Here,
only
I'll
out
do
of the
it for you.
259, there are 76 that are
There's
that you see that
183
are
in the
open to
building.
the sky, and the balance is within the footprint of the building.
You got 183 inside the building.
Thank you.
What? You got others? I'm taking their numbers now.
Yeah, I know. I'll reserve my
wanna
comments
keep-
for when we, after.
After, okay. Mr. Hartzell, go ahead.
Where's the closest on-street parking in case, 'cause if we're operating at a deficit, right?
The closest on-street parking outside of this project?
Yes.
Not sure if I have that in an aerial.
probably in the bank or something on the north side, if that's what you're saying. It's not legal. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm not sure there's any on-street parking if there was an
It's not
overflow
on street. Yeah, it's not on street. Yeah, it's not on street.
But I'm not sure, that's why I'm asking. The reduction percentages, and I guess this one's for staff, the reduction percentages that, of the bicycles, of the bus stops, and the others, are those mandatory percentages, or are they discretionary percentages that are allocated by the city or by us?
Right, so the way that the reductions are presented in the code is that they can be requested by the applicant at the discretion of the Development Services Director, and it's up to the percentages that were provided in the applicant's presentation. They are providing them on their backup as reference of things that could be applied to the project, but because of the other reductions that are associated with the mixed income housing policies that the Broward County provides and the incentives that the city participates in, the director didn't feel it was appropriate to provide further reductions. Now, the applicant did state tonight it's not a part of their backup and it isn't demonstrated on their plans, but that their request is solely focused on the office. To be frank, that was news to us. And so I don't, the way that our objections have been framed in the past were mostly focused on the residential and any sharing that may exist between residential and commercial uses. However, if the focus is solely on reducing the commercial requirements, our reservations related to the residential are a little bit alleviated. However, I think that it's appropriate to designate the spaces that are on the plan for residential only. If the statement is true that 169 spaces are reserved for residential, where are they? Do they exist within the garage? Do they conflict with the EV or the guest parking? And then the balance of 83 parking spaces, are those all surface? And what is proposed for any share that may occur off hours for the office uses? I think the idea that people work from home is valid, but people don't work from home in an office building. So the office building exists, and I think that the applicant has made an attempt to demonstrate that sufficient parking exists for that office building. However, I think that part of their backup suggested that 117 spaces were appropriate rather than the reduction of 84 from 153 that's required by code. So the math didn't work out perfectly, but I think that now their request is the reduction of 84 parking spaces from the 153 that would be required for the commercial only. 151, thank you.
So have you had the opportunity to evaluate that?
No, so that was part of our request, was to demonstrate where on the plan these spaces are provided and what is the total per use, and is there any share? We did receive a plan that showed some of the spaces on the site for guest, for commercial, for the new commercial uses, and then some of the spaces within the structure for commercial, which would then limit the ability to park 169 spaces within the structure. So my understanding, based on the discussion tonight, is that approach has changed. So should you find that to be appropriate, I would suggest that you make a condition that exactly those amounts are reserved in what specific locations is appropriate to your satisfaction. It would have to be a condition, yes.
And this is it.
Based on what was provided in the backup. It didn't say 169 for residential.
The experts had said that the ULI and the ITE standards, are those the same standards that we have in our code?
No, our code suggests that you can find an alternative source to propose a parking requirement that's appropriate for a new development. So what they've done is take a ULI or ITE standard to suggest a ratio that would be appropriate for the commercial use. However, the reduction that they're requesting is beyond what that ULI amount proposes. So I think that that's what the applicant needs to demonstrate, is that a further reduction beyond what ULI proposes is appropriate.
Hold on a second. Don't run off, Mr. Williams. Because I have something I want to ask you before we go too far into this. There's been a lot of discussion about the amount of office space is 60,000 feet, but it's significantly higher on the, what does staff consider the office space?
So we did accept the applicant's reduced amount. If this property came in today and was site planned, we would have very specific floor plans that said these are the areas that are reserved for office use. A lot of space within the building is likely, we haven't evaluated this, but corridor or common area that we would not require for to park today if it were a new development. So taking BCPA's total gross floor area is kind of a safe number, but it doesn't accurately reflect the true function of the interior of the space. So we were willing to accept that reduced amount, but we don't actually have
floor
detailed floor plans to support it.
Okay, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, they
I'm
don't
sorry,
exist
Mr.
in
Hartzell,
public
go ahead. Oh, okay. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I didn't want Mr. Williams to leave and get back up, that's all.
So, Ms. West, but the other expert testified.
Closer to the microphone, please.
The other expert stated that they went out and did a survey of the parking lot and that the building was predominantly full. Your staff report says that it's at 80%. What's the actual percentage? Is it full or is it 80%?
I'll defer to the owner, but initially, when I had confirmed it was 80%, the owner went back and actually confirmed it was actually over 90%. So it's over 90% occupied.
It's over 90% of 60,000?
Yes.
Okay.
And I also wanted to put into the record, because I don't know if you heard Max, but we did request public records for the existing office building to see what the square footage was, what the parking calculation was. There was none. There was for the credit union, which is what we have in our table.
I have one more question.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
What's the predominant use in the building? Is it, I know that it was a medical center and a bank, which
There is
has
some.
customers coming in all day.
Yeah, good. Thanks for asking
use?
that. When I ran through the PowerPoint with my husband, he asked me that. There is some medical uses in the building. It's mostly consultants, lawyers. You want to maybe mention anything specific? What? CPA, yeah. Consultants, just general office use.
And
I think Accurate Land Surveyors is there, and so is Rex Nichols Architecture, that kind of thing.
do we consider, this is a question for Mr. Wemyss. Do we consider a bank to have a higher traffic impact, higher parking impact, or that doesn't matter? That it's a
Off the top of my head, I don't know the specific parking requirement for a financial institution. It is a different requirement than office, but I think they're comparable. Paula has it here. I guess it's 1 per 300 for a financial institution, and the office is 1 per 400. So it is a higher requirement.
Okay.
Have a question? Here.
Yes.
Max, maybe this is for you. At the last 3 or 4 commission meetings, there's been a lot of discussion about parking and parking garages. Maybe some of, I hear Mr. Chair saying, And so maybe A doesn't have anything to do with B, but I'd be remiss if I didn't remember all these hours of discussion as it relates to parking and parking garages and things of that nature. So I understand the incentives that might be provided by the city, but I also have to keep in mind that there's been a lot of discussion about various parking garages through. So I don't, I mean, I believe I have a fiduciary duty to try and do right by everybody here, by the residents that's got up and spoke, as well as being respectful to your client. But I've heard the commission talk ad nauseum almost about our parking and the parking garages and the $30 million that we're going to potentially pay for a parking garage. So now you're asking me to, decrease parking. So I feel like I'm in a little bit of a conundrum, or maybe I'm just missing some of the information. But I want to, keep in perspective. But I have been to many commission meetings, and parking has been an issue. Almost, I can't remember the last time I've been to a meeting and parking hasn't come up in discussions about a lot of our new buildings and new projects that are going forth. So, but now we're saying deviate from that and give the applicant less parking.
Yes, that is the request.
Okay.
And this, as the staff report shows, it's not currently, as submitted, supported by staff. The commission is seeking centralized parking garages. There's not currently one proposed in this district, but certainly where those garages are proposed, shared parking agreements could be proposed to reduce parking off-site. That isn't an aspect of this proposal. Based on the evidence provided tonight, they're purely looking to reduce the parking that's required for the office component. The residential component is a brand new development and already is automatically eligible for a reduced parking requirement than our general code. That's the 1 per unit or 1 per 1,000 square feet, whichever results in greater parking spaces. That's how we got to 169 spaces for 132 units. So that's already the reduction that we allow for the residential, which I believe is why the applicant is focusing purely on the commercial component to justify the reduction. The office component, the existing office component. That's.
Thank you.
Don't run off. I've got something for Max, just a second. Okay. Mr. Williams, you and I have had a discussion after the, and this is following up on Mrs. King's thing, at the mission level, okay? You and I had a discussion post the overlay district discussion or workshop that they had, and you and I talked about, I think there was only one item, and the one item was a parking reduction in the AOC, I believe it was, that is sunsetting next month.
Yeah, the parking reductions.
And we're not even going to discuss, I mean, my understanding is that is going to go away. Reduction is going away.
There's no direction or desire at this point in time to extend those reductions for the East Overlay District and the Atlantic Overlay District.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was both or just the AOC, but it's the AOC and the EOC.
Correct. So active development orders will remain. New applications will have to comply with the general code.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Daly.
Thank you. Either for you, Ms. West, or the architect or whomever, I'm just curious, all of the surface parking spaces are already in place, correct?
No, we're redoing the whole site, except for the drive-through section in front of the credit union. Go back to the site plan here. Yeah, no, all of the surface parking is new, and we're increasing landscaping next to
You'll be adding surface spaces throughout the site? Okay. Still want to go on this thought of questioning. When we're adding the surface spaces, and I noticed earlier, and I pointed out the 20% for compact cars, do you intend to put compact car spaces on the surface level or internally within the deck?
Internal to the building.
Okay, so internally to the building, I did some numbers, Mrs. Coleman, by the way. It's 183 internal spaces. Taking away 24 for EV, we're left with 159. Taking away from that the 20%, we're left with 27 regular spaces internally into the building for 132 units. It just, to me, that doesn't seem like it's quite enough because it's not even one park spot per unit at that point.
I just want to make sure your math is correct. Can you go through your math again?
Sure, absolutely. 183 internal parking spaces based on your site plan. That's including EV. So we take out the 24 for EV, leaves us with 159. Then we take away the 20% for compact cars, leaves us with 127. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying for an individual with a car that is regular sized. It's 127 spots for a regular sized vehicle internally to the property.
Can I just also clarify that compact spaces are 8 foot 6 inches, and the current code is 9 foot. It's only a 6-inch reduction.
Still, it's still a compact space is my point, though. Like, we're not going to fit you can't fit a regular sized car next to a regular sized car next to a regular sized car in a compact space situation. It's just not going to work.
In 8'6", you can fit a regular size car. So other cities like Miami, the standard parking space for Miami is 8'6". So compact sounds like a wrong message, but it's actually pretty standard.
I appreciate your insight there. I don't see that as a place where we can, where it gets to the point where I look at it and say, oh, that does make sense. But thank you. I just wanted to share my thoughts on that.
If I can just also add, so the EV parking spaces are not like set in concrete. So if they cause an issue, we can remove them. But they're not required by code.
There was some discussion, and I don't know if we discussed it now or I read it somewhere or whatever, that there's been some discussion about marking spaces that were like having it sounded like a parking plan or something that was going to mark spaces that were for the office versus for the residential. But I don't see that as a condition. Is that a condition, or did I miss it reading through it?
I think it's a condition in the site plan.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
condition
it's in
on
the
the
site
adjustment.
plan portion. I was looking.
No, on the adjustment.
Okay.
It's in the site plan portion.
Okay, so that would be a requirement. Well, I didn't even ask you. Are you accepting?
Yes.
We're actually at this point, we're on the administrative adjustment. So are you accepting of the 5 conditions of the administrative adjustment?
Yes, and I also do want to reserve time for closing comments.
Sure. No, that's fine. Okay. So, and we've also had, I'm sorry, Mr. Fisher, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So just 2 quick questions. So we're getting the 60,000 for the office because we're reducing that one floor.
No.
Okay.
No. It's 60,000 because we went through the rent rolls to actually get square footage since we didn't have floor plans.
Okay.
That's the accurate number.
The accurate number
as
is 60,000. Okay, perfect. Just want to make sure. And then security for the residential building. Is there a gate to go up to the next floor for parking? Is there a code to get into the bike area? Anything like that?
No.
Okay. So there's no gate for parking, and then is there security for the bike area at all?
Not, everything security-wise is in the subted plan. I did not do the subted plan. So I'll have to call the architect back up.
No worries. I just want to make sure, because I want to make it accessible if this does go through. I want to make sure that anybody that's renting or leasing from the office building has accessibility to get to that biking area and it is secured, because we don't want random people coming off the street,
Yes.
putting their bike there or taking showers there. Obviously, we do have
Yeah, that was a good point. Actually, it was one of the conditions that was discussed during the architectural appearance committee board. So one of the conditions was actually to add biking racks in front of the commercial space to accommodate visitors to the commercial space. So it's understood that the enclosed bike storage, along with the locker facility, would have some key card access limited to either the resident of the residential complex or the user of the office tower.
Yeah, perfect. Just want to confirm that. Only thing that concerns me also with residential overflow, because there is some people that have the 10 3-bedrooms and the guest places are taken up for the 2 bedrooms, then there's going to be overflow possibly onto the ground parking, possibly. Is there going to be some sort of, I know you don't have the plan confirmed yet, but is there going to be some sort of security on the grounds to prevent that from happening, from the residential overflow?
Security, a plan for security for someone, like a parking attendant or anything like that?
some people, you might spend the night or something, be parked in the office parking spaces, maybe not be gone by 8:30 when people get to the office, then you're running into the problem when you're already limited spaces as is.
So other than reserving it and requiring the tags
Okay.
for the residents?
Perfect. Just want to make sure. All right, thank you.
Okay. We'll probably come back to the board. Mrs. West, would you like to go ahead and complete? There's one other thing that I think you guys are going to have to deal with in what I'm sitting here doing this math. But do you want to go ahead and make your closing remark or responses at this point?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so I made a couple notes. Let me just start with, okay. When you were up and you spoke, I'm not sure if you were talking about our project or a different project in the area, but you mentioned 300 units. We're not proposing 300 units in this project. This is 132, and some of those are going to be affordable units. I just wanted to go on the record for that. Second point, when the speakers got up and they mentioned they were at the, I guess it would be to the east of our project, so I asked Max to confirm what the zoning district was. The strip of residential units that are directly behind us are zoned RM20, and I just wanted to put that in the record. Let's see if I can go over there. So that strip of what looks to be single-family homes, but I don't think they are, that whole strip behind us are RM20. Next to that is RS2, just for your, just to help you guys understand. Third thing I wanted to point out, I understand that this is a significant request. However, the county policy for affordable housing foresaw something like this. This property is perfect for that county policy. It allows us to take advantage of the square footage of the office space that's already there, and I believe we're the first to be asking for Rule 216.4. Am I correct? This would be the first. Dean told me that.
Yeah, this may be the first 216.4 property that's outside of the overlays, but we have used the policy to provide residential entitlements elsewhere for more familiar mixed-use development. But yes, this is generally the intent of the policy along the commercial corridors to allow for this infill development. Right.
I just wanted to point out that this property is perfect to take advantage of that county policy. So the county policy kind of foresaw that. Your code and your comprehensive plan kind of foresaw that, in that the comprehensive plan policies that we presented back up our request. The code also backs up our request because it allows for these adjustments to be requested, granted at an administrative level, which is something you guys wouldn't see. However, there are, and I just want to go on the record, when a minor site plan asks for a minor administrative adjustment, we're not limited to just one, reduction of 12 or 10% or 5%. You can actually request multiple as long as you stay within the 20% that's allowed by the director. So again, your code kind of foresaw this. Your comprehensive plan kind of foresaw this. Another thing I wanted to mention, so one of the speakers mentioned that there's no demand for the bike facilities that we're providing. I would argue that there isn't a demand, and again, the bike facilities is not for the public. This is for the employees of the project. This is for the residents of the project. And then we have 3 bus stops nearby, so there is a demand for this type of facility. And I think that's really all I had to say.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Nick Polishkin. I'm one of the owners. The address is 2880 Northeast 23rd Place, Pompano Beach, Florida, 33062.
Could you give your name again, please?
Nick Polishkin.
Thank you.
I'm one of the owners of the building.
You just pull this up because you're taller than Paula.
Oh, yeah, sure.
There you
Thank
go.
you.
You don't have to bend over. Go ahead.
And your board just wanted to do a little closing statement, not to waste a lot of time, but thank you so much for your comments, and I understand you live in the city too. close to the building. I live myself in Pompano Beach too. For the last 3 years, my family, my parents, we live in Pompano on the same street. And the idea why we're requesting the parking lot, because I have a little bit different point of view. For example, I have lots of younger generation working within my companies. For example, my sister just graduated from Savannah School of Art and Design, and she's looking for a job. So she will get probably a starting job at $35,000. The rents in our area are expensive, so she will be able only to afford to rent a space. And for the car, you need to pay extra. Car payment can be what, $500, $600, $700 a month. So we want to tailor our building for a little bit generation who is like right out of college. They don't have enough money to basically pay for cars. They might not have a car, but they might have a scooter, electric scooter, whatever, bicycle. Understand that we live in the state of Florida and everybody loves cars. I mean, I love car, but we all in the age group where we can afford cars. We can afford maybe 1 to 2 cars. But if you look at younger generation, I have, for example, employees who were coming to this building. I used to have an office in this building. They were leasing in Oakland, taking a bus to get to our office. Another thing, we have Ubers, Lyfts. I use Uber sometimes too. I have electric scooter. I go to the beach on electric scooter because it's hard to find parking on the beach, so I can use different means of transportation. And I think that's, the world is changing right now, and not everybody need a car. That's just my point. But obviously, we try to accommodate as much parking as possible, but this is, again, sorry if you live in the area, I understand your concerns, and we will try to do everything possible to bring this project, and thank you so much.
Would you be able to spell your name, please, into the...
Yes?
Please.
My last name?
Yes, please.
Polyushkin.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You didn't get that from the pronunciation? Oh, okay.
I do have one more thing to mention, and I think it just escaped me. Oh, no. So when Max came up and mentioned that it wasn't terribly clear in our report that we were just specifically focusing on the office space, I do apologize for that. Like I mentioned, a reduction is a reduction. I did want to focus completely on the office space because that has been the only thing that we've talked about with staff. It's always been the office space. We don't have a way to confirm the square footage. We don't have a way to confirm, anything that has to do with the parking demand on that, except for what we've observed on the site and what the 2 different resources that we used. So I just wanted to clarify that, but it is specifically for that office space that we're asking the reduction for.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna have some questions, but does anybody else have some more? Yeah, Mr. Dally, you go first. Well, you're done with your portion. Okay. Yes.
So the public hearing's closed?
Yes, public hearing's been closed, yeah, for a while. Okay. Mrs.
At the
Coleman.
appropriate time, you can go before I do if you prefer.
No, no, go ahead.
I'm very familiar with the parking that the applicant has, the parking studies that the applicant has used. And I want to agree with some comments that Mrs. King made. Parking has been probably the #1 discussion, not only here, but at the commission level for some months. It's been our discussions in the overlay districts because we're really trying to reduce need for parking, but it seems like that the need for parking and our desire to have the need for parking reduced haven't quite caught up with each other yet. And we've seen that with some of the other projects that we have approved adjacent to single-family homes and the intrusion in those single-family home neighborhoods. It's been a real disruptor for everyone involved, including the people living in the new buildings when their cars are ticketed and towed. My problem with this project is not the project. I think that it's a great project. I know it's more intense than what the neighbors want, but it's what the code allows. But when it comes to us to do away with 1 in every 4 parking places, that's just a little too much for me to be able to support at this time. Shared parking is shared parking, not you can only park in this if you're residential, you can only park in this if you are commercial, and I'm going to use, if you used one of the examples that the project is used for a reduction of 17% here, 10% there, might have been able to support that. But when you come in and clump them all together and ask for almost 25% reduction in parking, 1 in every 4 spaces, I think we're asking for trouble if we allow that much of a reduction in parking in a place where, quite frankly, it's not in one of our overlay districts where we're trying to bunch a lot of intense development. Code allows it. I think that it's admirable to be doing these kinds of units, but 25% is just, 24 and a piece percent is just too much for me to support.
Okay. Anybody else? You want to go, Robert? Yeah, go ahead.
I think I'm just going to reiterate what Carla said. I think you're asking a lot from the board. You're maxing out what we can give as parking. There's going to be something big that goes there, folks, and I live in that neighborhood. I understand the plight. I do understand that those are multifamily houses behind it. I don't see the traffic that has been talked about coming out of Port Royale. You know, I take 15th Street every day. I think, you know, I love your work. You do great work, Ms. West, and I like your new urbanism. But for me, I think it's, you know, just a bridge too far for us to do that big of a percentage on parking. It could be fixed, you know. I am definitely high and tight, you know, if you can put, and it's in my neighborhood, and I don't want to look at it. But if you can get it high and you get it tight, and you can get the parking taken care of, you got my vote every day. But I think not having enough parking and not having street parking available, the last thing I want to see is somebody parking on your guys' block on 23rd. I go up and down there all the time. I walk my dog down there. There's no place to park. There's no place to park on 14th or 15th. There is no, they took away all of the easements and they grassed them. So when you have a car in the road and somebody parks there and they stay overnight and they're having fun with their guests over at the new place and they park on 23rd, that could be a major issue with people trying to get out in the morning and a safety issue, especially in that neighborhood. But again, you come back to me with less parking, you got my vote all day, or more parking. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Dowley, go ahead.
Thank you. I agree with Mrs. Coleman. I don't necessarily agree with Mr. Hartzell that I would approve the project if there was more parking, but I appreciate his sentiment. I can't fathom approving a project that's asking for 24.5% less parking. And I'd just like to point out that the owner of the property even said, I find it hard to find parking at the beach. But you're coming to ask us to reduce the parking here. Parking is an issue within the city. We need to make sure that we are providing enough parking. And this just isn't doing it, in my opinion. So I won't be supporting this item either.
Okay. I wanted to go back because we've been throwing numbers around so much. The total parking is, potential provided parking is 259?
Yes.
Okay. And how much is required? Because you said basically we nixed out the residential portion.
The total required is 343.
No, I'm sorry. The part that's required for the residential based on, because the reductions that you're talking, you said that if I took this correctly, you said that the real discussion has not been about what portion was allotted to the residential, it's the portion allotted to the commercial.
Correct.
So what's the, out of that 259, how many of those are the, I guess, undisputed portion of the residential? Is that, huh? That's what I had written down, but I wanted to make sure that's right. Okay. So 169 leaves 90. Okay. Now we've heard testimony that said that office space is 1 per 300. I think that's what you said. So that would be 200 spaces. Now that's the old formula, so I'm not necessarily going there. Today there's 200 spaces. There was testimony that said about 100 of them are being used, and yet there's no way we're going to have more than 90 in the best case scenario. And the other thing is that if I did the math right, we're saying there's actually 76 on this site plan. So 14 of the spaces, inside of the, because we don't have this plan that has designated where they're going, 14 of those are going to be inside of the building, inside of the residential building on the first floor? Not for the retail, I'm talking about for the commercial building. They don't have enough parking for the commercial building based on their own evidence, the way that I am interpreting this. Now, obviously, I don't think 200 spaces that's the old formulas that we used to use for pure office space and blah, 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 which is what you have today. But the testimony is that there's 100 that are needed based on what he saw. And you're not even going to have that 100 based on what we're doing today. So there's minus 10 spaces for the overflow of the commercial. I tend to agree that this 25% number or 24 and change number is just, it's gone too far. I mean, there just is not that many spaces left over to do that. And I did have something else I wanted to ask Max about. What is the buffer, if this was a new development, what would be the buffer between this and the RM20? What kind of buffer would it be in a B?
So the required setback is a minimum of 20 feet. If
Okay.
it was a parking area, we would require a type B buffer, which would fall within that area. But
it's
all
not.
been addressed within the design. The minimum setback that's required is 20 feet, where 24
For the
and a half is
building or
provided. For the base of the building.
Okay. But would there be a buffer between, because this is commercial, so there'd be a buffer between this and the residential to the east?
And that can exist within the setback.
Within this, yes, within the physical setback.
Correct.
But is there one today? When I say buffer, what is there today? There's a fence or something?
I don't think so. I believe it's just some parking.
It's just the hedges?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that would be another potential problem too then,
Right.
in my mind. Okay.
So the new buffer, so the setback is 24 and a half feet for the building from the property line. The buffer of 10 feet will be provided on the east side of the parking areas or the building and include a wall and landscaping.
If this was a new development?
As proposed and as for new development.
Oh, okay, so this development would?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
All
it would
new
so it would comply with the B buffer then?
Yes,
I
they're
guess that was
complying
my
with our buffer
question.
standards.
Because these people had asked, I think, that was one of the.
I believe that the testimony was their own fence. They will provide a wall on their property at the property line. And then landscaping on the interior.
This development?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So it would abut the other fence then, I assume, or something like that. The fence that's part of the other property?
And for that property, yes.
Got it. Okay. I was confused about that. Okay. Is there anybody else that wants to speak? Go ahead. So at this point, if there's nothing else, the chair will entertain a motion on we'll deal with item number 1 first, which is the administrative adjustment.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
may we request to table this item?
okay. With all that, then the chair will entertain a motion to table item number 1.
So moved. You need like a specific motion?
second.
Or
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table item number 1.
do we need a specific motion, or is just the
I don't know.
motion to table acceptable?
Counselor?
Or?
It's going to be tabled to a date certain. That's the only thing that you're going to be required to do.
Okay. Mrs. West, are we gonna, how long do you want?
We need 1 month.
Mr. Chair, if I might, I just want to ask a follow-up question, Mr. Weems. Should the applicant, since a lot of the discussion has dealt with the percentages of this adjustment, if there is some miracle that occurs on the 3rd floor and that particular percentage becomes below, I think I heard the 20%, that's an item that would not come back before, potentially not come back before this board?
Right, so if the applicant revised the request to a minor administrative adjustment, that is something that Development Services can approve without bringing it to the Planning and Zoning Board. Of course, that would be a condition that would have to be resolved before the site plan is approved. However, our internal review of this project has included several iterations where reductions were requested, none of which were acceptable to the Director of Development Services.
So,
Yeah, right.
So
I'm gonna take the next step because I think
Well, the reason I asked is
we don't know if that would come back then.
I just wanted to make this board,
Two.
I just want to make this board aware that there's a possibility that even though we set it to a date certain, it may not come back depending on the.
Right, what the adjustment is. So, and I don't think this board's all hyped up necessarily about, well, I shouldn't say that. We were pretty hyped up about it. Anyway, so, but I think, the other side of that would be that, let's assume for a minute it got down in the below 20% range, which is within the director's purview?
Yes.
Okay, but what if the director doesn't approve it? Then you'd still have to bring it to us to approve an 18% or something. I'm not saying he's not gonna approve it, and I'm just asking a question. What happens if the director says, I don't approve that? You have to ask the Planning and Zoning Board then?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of odd. The way that the.
No,
code
it's never
is-
happened, but I
right,
just
is
figured I'd throw it out
Up to a certain percent is a minor administrative adjustment, which the director can approve at their discretion. And then up to 40% is a major administrative adjustment that's evaluated by the Planning and Zoning Board. Up to 40% could include 18% should the director still not feel comfortable approving the minor administrative adjustment.
That was my point, okay.
So we could classify a lesser amount as a major adjustment, subject to your approval.
Okay.
But I just, you know.
No, I understand. I mean, I'm not sure that's ever happened where you actually brought it to us. I mean, but I never asked that question.
It's the same way that like an appeal would work. So if we denied a minor
It would be like us,
administrative
yeah,
adjustment,
we would be
could
hearing
then
the
appeal to a public
The next
authority.
level board, which would be us. Okay. Okay. Well, I've talked that one to death. Okay. So I think there was a motion and was there a motion and a second to?
We just need a date certain, I think.
Oh,
That's what we're waiting
that's
on.
what we were doing. Date certain. What did you guys decide?
We would like to request 1 month, 60 days.
What's the date of the?
When's the deadline?
1 month or 60 days, which was it?
If it were up to me, I would do at least 2 months so that that
I was
allows
gonna
the
say,
applicant
this is-
time to
We're in
revise.
the holidays.
I have no idea what their revisions may include or what the next iteration may look like. We need to receive those plans, review them, prepare our reports, and then complete the agenda. Turning this around in 1 month was a miracle. So I don't want to do that again.
We're out of miracles. Okay. Thank God the
It's the
year's
holiday
almost
season,
over.
Mr. Chair.
The miracles are almost over. You know, maybe the 25th will be one. Who knows?
Miracle on 34th Street, Mr.
There we go.
Chair.
Okay, so I think we decided 60 days, right? All right, we're gonna, what's the date of that meeting?
So I just want to clarify
actually the
everything
meeting date,
first.
right?
Mr. Daly, first motion.
Correct, yeah,
Mr. Hartzell, second motion.
that is correct.
And then the February date is February 25th, 2026.
Okay.
And Paula, you agree to that?
25th, you said?
February 25th.
Okay.
And the deadline?
Yeah, that's more important to Max.
I don't have that.
the meeting.
No, I'm in January.
If you give me one moment, I can check my email.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
He just doesn't care when you bring it to us. He wants to know when they got to have it done.
Within reason.
No, I'm just kidding.
Where are you going, Max?
What?
Where are you going on your trip?
Where am I going?
Yeah,
No, it's like they said you're going to be gone. That's why you
Oh,
wanted
no.
to know how long you had.
No, I'm always available.
Okay. That's true. I've talked to you in Spain. We don't, you're still looking.
I'm almost there.
Okay. Okay. It's a moment of suspense. I think I need another piece of chocolate. No, you can't have any.
It's okay. I don't think it's so important. As long as we're comfortable with 2 months and the applicant was comfortable with 1 month, the deadline is generally a month before the meeting date. So
Okay.
I think that we'll be comfortable with that
Well,
deadline
you guys,
for the applicant.
what would happen if they needed to push it back? Before, would they have to come here just to get the extension to the next month?
Yes.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Right, so at this point,
I'm amending my motion
Please.
to date certain of February 25th, 2026.
5th or 6th?
25th. Yeah, 25th.
Okay.
Second.
That's the other 25th. Okay.
Second.
Okay.
And Paula, you're good with that?
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion of the postponement of item number 1?
Just very quick, curious thought. If it does get below the 20% mark, is there a way that we can trigger it to come back to us regardless if they do?
The site plan's going to come back no matter what.
Oh, that's fair. That's actually a very good point. Thank you for that, Mr. Chair.
Okay. But I haven't gotten to that yet. Okay. All right. So was there any discussion on the motion? Any other questions? Seeing none, Bobby, call the roll on the tabling of item number 1.
Rich Daly,
Yes.
Robert Hartzell,
Yes.
Gigi DeBeck,
Yes.
Paul Fisher,
Yes.
Tundra King,
Yes.
Carla Coleman,
Yes.
Fred Stacer.
Yes. Okay, so the first item is tabled to the 25th. Second item, we have to put it on the floor, and then you're going to ask for a
Yes.
table. Or you can tell you what, I'll let you go ahead and ask for the tabling
Yes.
now,
Thank you. Yes, we would like to request a table the site plan as well.
to the same date.
Same date.
Okay.
So moved. Table item number 2 to date certain 2/25/26.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to table item number 2 to the same February 25th meeting. Any questions on the motion? Okay, seeing none, Bobby, call the roll on the tabling of item number 2.
Rich Daly,
Yes.
Robert Hartzell,
Yes.
Gigi DeBeck,
Yes.
Paul Fisher,
Yes.
Tundra King,
Yes.
Carla Coleman,
Yes.
Fred Stacer.
Yes, okay, so both items are going to be postponed until the 25th of February. So if you have friends or whatever that you want to talk to, you have that time.
Thank you. God bless.
And before you run off, does somebody want to give them code enforcement? They sounded like they had a code enforcement issue with people throwing stuff over. Can you give them, what is it, Mario's number or something? Somebody asked about that. I'm sorry?
I have him on speed dial.
No, not you. You didn't throw your clothes over that fence. Come on.
No, I mean, I have
Max,
Mario.
thank you. Thank you. Folks, he'll get you that, okay? All right. All right. Okay, that's our 2 items for tonight's agenda. The next item in there is chair and vice chair.
Audience to be heard.
Oh, I'm
first.
sorry, audience to be heard. Excuse me. walked right over there. That's the second time I've done that this year. I'm going to lose my chairmanship. I can see this. I'm in trouble. Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. Anybody, I know you guys spoke on this item. If you have anything else you would like to speak about, you're welcome. You can have 3 minutes to talk about something else now. And if not, then we'll. No, it should be something different. I'm sorry? In general, if there's something. Thank you very much. That was, I can't take credit for it, but whatever. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Okay. So that's it for audience participation on that. Next item, I'm sorry, yes, other business, chair and vice chair nominations. This is like our traditional, I guess, Christmas voting on chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
No, you do it.
No, it's all you. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate you for your continued service as chairman of this board.
Second.
Okay. We have a nomination. Are there any other nominations for chair?
Nobody wants it.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, I'll close the nominations. And since there's only one person, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And opposed? Okay. Besides me. My vote doesn't count. It's like being at home. Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay. Thank you very much for that. And the next item is the nomination of the vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Mrs. Carla Coleman.
Okay. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair? All right, seeing none, I'll close the nominations for vice chair. All in favor of...
Need a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right, I do.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Fisher was the second. And all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, Mrs. Coleman, it looks like you got roped into doing it again. Okay. Are there any reports of staff? By staff, do you guys have any reports tonight?
He's not listening.
Oh, he's not listening to me? Well, that's okay. It's like being at home. Nobody listens to me at home either, so.
Anywhere in the world, I'm listening.
Yeah, I know it. That's why I said I called you, and you were in Spain, for God's sake, and you picked up. I couldn't believe it.
Just because it's the last meeting of the year, I just wanted to give like a very high-level overview of the work that we've done this year. It feels, I mean, these meetings aren't short, but there have been 30 items in the 12 meetings that we've had this year that we brought. Variety of things, from text amendments, major administrative adjustments, the plats, which we now take administratively, flex applications, and major site plans. There have, of the applications that we've received, there have been 23 that were approved. There was one recommendation for a denial. That was the healthcare text amendment, which ultimately went to the commission. And 6 postponed, which now can, we had 2 of those that we heard tonight, so that remains 6 postponed. Some major projects came to the Planning and Zoning Board, not just the text amendments, which I probably enjoy the most because my work, I feel like I put the most work into those items. But then in terms of site plans, we had the live residential that was by Cordish on their 20 acres. We had the McNabb House in Botanical Gardens. That was probably one of my favorite public projects that has come in a long time. And as well as, a variety of mixed use and mixed income projects. So I just wanted to give that very brief overview. Overwhelmingly, we tend to approve the projects that come to this board, and I think that's because this board really focuses on code compliance, and we like to bring things to you that we can recommend for approval. So with that, I have nothing further to report, but thank you for a good year.
Thank you, Max. Appreciate it. Bobby, you have anything for us?
Just that starting next year, this will be my 4th year serving this board. And
All right.
Just that it's truly a pleasure to work with all you. You guys are fantastic. Getting back with me, RSVPing, and I hope it is the same way too. Truly enjoy working with you guys.
Great. Appreciate it. Counselor?
Following that act, I guess I have to do the same. Kumbaya. I've enjoyed working with the department. The department does an excellent job in presentation and putting together the items and providing material to the board. They work well with our office in getting into the nitty-gritty of some of the things that come before this board. And so we appreciate that working relationship with not only Max and John and this guy over here. But it's been a pleasure working with each one of you, and I hope our office has been a sort of client or provided a concierge service to you all, meaning that when you have questions,
Big words.
We'll sing you the bill. But when we provide that kind of service,
You don't get paid anymore, no matter what words you use, okay? So.
I hope that if they ever had a question, we try to make sure that we answer you promptly and give as much information as possible. With that being said, I also want to wish each one of you a happy holiday and a prosperous new year, and look forward to all the many things that we're going to do in the new year. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Mr. Daly?
Yeah, staff has done a fantastic job this year. You guys, kudos all around. I feel like this is my first year with you guys. So thank you. While I've done work like this in the past as a commissioner and on the ZBA even, this has been a tremendous experience to work with and the pleasure to serve with everybody up here. You alluded to the fact that this is the A team earlier, and it truly is. You know, when we sit up here, while we don't always necessarily agree on everything, I think the cordiality and the congeniality and the way we go through every aspect of each item, we do it with respect and with the good graces of our city in mind. So I want to, as my colleague, not my colleague, as the attorney just said, James, happy holiday season, everybody. Looking forward to keeping up with you guys next year.
Thank you. Mr. Fisher?
Man, I feel like a broken record. But seriously, staff, you've been amazing this year. It's been great working with you. I think this is including alternate years, this is my third or fourth year. So it's been amazing, and 2025 was great, and look forward to 2026. Happy holidays, everyone, and Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Coleman?
I am a broken record at this point. Staff has been absolutely phenomenal, and I've called you with the craziest questions and the craziest ideas from time to time, but you've always been receptive and more than professional and very accommodating, and I thank you all for your service. Having been a public servant myself, I know it's not always the easiest job in the world. And it's been an honor for me to serve. It's been an honor for me to serve as vice chair this year, and I thank you. I'm coming up on close to 10 years of service on this board, and it is one of the highlights of my month to come here and see your faces every month. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. King?
Ditto to what my other board members have said, and thank you to staff and everybody. I have the joy sometimes of sitting through commission meetings as well, and I've learned so much. When Commissioner Perkins asked me to sit in this seat, I said, I know about law enforcement, that's it, nothing else.
Except Ted.
So I thank you. I've learned so much from you all, and I've been able to answer people's questions when they say, hey, I have a question. This fence is up in my yard. Can you ask some of the people on planning and zoning? And so it's been extremely helpful. Thank you, Attorney Saunders, and thank you, everybody. I hope you guys have an amazing 2026, and best wishes to you and your family.
Thank you. Mr. Hartzell?
I don't want to be a broken record, but
You don't.
actually, I'm going to thank the audience for coming out tonight. It means a lot to us, and it gives us a lot of input. When the people that are affected by our decisions give us the reality of what the situation is on the ground and how it affects you. a lot of times we look at it and people just come up and yell at us and tell us we're horrible people if we vote for it. But
You are.
I thought that you guys came very prepared, and you guys came with some good information for us about the on-the-ground and how it affects you personally. And a lot of times we just look at the rule book and look at what the code is, and we don't take that into account. So the more people that come out, and if we can get this room full ever, but
It's
yeah,
been
that'd be a
full.
long night.
It's been
But-
full.
We will on the next high-rise on the beach, believe me.
But I do want to thank you, and I wish you all the happiest of holidays. And thank you for coming out, and thank you for participating, and thank you for being my neighbor. So, and then, of course, always, the staff is great. Our council is great. You guys do such a fantastic job to set us up. Today, you were overly prepared, and you had all the answers to our questions, and that helps us out. You know, we don't get into the nitty-gritty of it, of the code, and we have to ask you, and you came fully prepared, and that makes me happy. To my colleagues, I enjoy working with you. I look forward to working with you. This is the highlight of my month. So,
Boy, you have a
happy
boring mind,
holidays
son.
to my colleagues, and a happy new year.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Hartzell. Mrs. Dubek.
Well, I've learned a lot. This is new. This is my first time serving on a city board, so I really appreciate the opportunity, and I've learned a lot and continue in learning. And I'm really happy about the fact that we're really making an effort about parking, because I'm challenged by it every single day. I live over by the beach, and it is a challenge. And I think it's important that we're proactive about new projects coming in and are being shortchanging the parking. We have to be sensitive to that, because when you don't have parking, it really truly is a challenge. And so I'm thankful that we are being very sensitive about that and really looking at, you know, why it's important to make that difference. And so thank you for the opportunity, and Carla, the chocolate was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really good, so thank you for sharing.
So welcome.
Yeah.
And I really wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a great New Year, and also Max and Bobby, you do a stellar job, so thank you for that.
You can't come past that. Oh. Okay, so I guess it's up to me, and then before I'll close out. I was trying to do the math about how long I've been here. It's very disturbing. But actually, since, I guess this is my 17th year on this board, and I've been the chairman for 15, and it's really been an honor. And I really enjoy the people that I work with. This board, it's very congenial, and also has a diverse opinion about a lot of different things. So sometimes that's a little hard to do, but I think we managed to do it, smiling. And we have an amazing city. We've come a long way in the 17 years, not because of me, but but we've come a long way in the 17 years. I remember we didn't even have a garage on the a parking garage on the beach, and we had a torn up beach and a dilapidated pier and a closed down restaurant, and we had a leaky roof on the library, and we had mold in the fire station. So we've come a long way. And now TripAdvisor says we have a top 10 in the country beach. So I think that's a lot to be said, and I think this board's actually had some real, been able to move that ball a little bit as well. Obviously, having staff that's this competent and forward-thinking, it makes a huge difference. So. And I'd like to thank the elected officials who put us here. Putting me on this board probably shows a lack of judgment on their part, but whatever. But anyway, no, I actually seriously would like to thank them. You know, because each one of us comes from has a different representative that we come from, and Mr. Hartzell is actually the whole commission put him on. I only found one fool to put me on, and everybody else has somebody, so that you understand that's the way that this works. We try to get representation throughout the city and input likewise from throughout the city. And with that, I would like to wish everybody a very happy holiday. And I move we adjourn. There we go. We adjourn.